fruit. I paint pictures with my words, tangled thoughts and feelings. Growinggames.com, Rory Fabro. Tangled thoughts and feelings.
Hey there guys, I'm Tori from the Growing Gamers podcast, coming to you from Geelong, Australia. And there's been a little bit of news for Sony fans out there. They've released images. You would have seen them by now, I dare say, if you're a sort of person who's looking for news. If you're looking to this face for news, I'm really sorry. I'm always going to be behind. I can only record when I'm not at work, and then I try to cobble together a few that you can get your news and other bits and pieces that may be going on. Now, bad news. I may have mentioned it before in a previous show, but if not, I'm going to throw it at you again. The Last of Us Part 2 has been postponed indefinitely. By indefinitely, who the fuck knows? That really sucks. I'm not at all happy about that. I was really looking forward to it. I know a lot of people have been going back and playing the first game again just to get a feel of what they may expect when the story comes that Ellie is your main character that you control. Ellie was the female AI that you got to play so briefly. In the first game, you played Joel, the older man in the game, who looked after Ellie. And it still holds for me as one of the best games I have ever played. It didn't introduce anything so new in terms of, gameplay mechanics or even graphics. It was beautifully done. The story was what held it. The story, the music in the background, the feeling of loneliness and isolation whilst you were looking after this child. And the AI was so perfectly done that Ellie felt like, even when you weren't playing as her, it really felt as though someone was playing with you, someone who had an understanding of the mechanics of the game and could move her around. And that game has been postponed indefinitely. So I've got a feeling that they're either waiting for the COVID-19 pandemic to go away, or, that they can ship things properly again. Or maybe even, maybe even it has been released as a launch title for the PS5. The beautiful graphics that were in the first game, I can only imagine what ray tracing would do for the lighting and the sound of that game. Ray tracing is basically, in layman's terms, and if I get it wrong, then bad luck, ray tracing is how the light in the game interprets the environment and how it will interact. So the lighting in the game picks up on where things are in the game and will change accordingly to where you are in the game. So you'll have extra reflections on things. You may have these beautiful moments where sun bursts through trees, whereas previously you could see it behind. And also, Sony have said that they're going to be using that ray tracing, the same technology, to determine how sound should behave within a game. And the beauty of that is simply that if, say, for example, if your character was walking outside a cave and they're talking, when they enter into the cave, the ray tracing for the sound source will know what's going on, and it will essentially allow the sound then to be modified to like a cave environment where you may get like sound bouncing off walls and echo. So it won't sound as though whoever did the voice acting is just in the same environment the whole time. It will be a beautiful thing where you do walk around and sound will reflect, for want of a better word, off the game environment, sounding different and giving you a lot more than what you were previously getting. So a more immersive experience for everyone. I'm quite excited by that. I can't wait to see what happens. Sony, though, they have released images, they're confirmed, of the new controller for the PS5, which they have dubbed the DualSense Controller. Now, I'm going to put a picture of this up so you won't see me for a second, but the DualSense Controller is essentially, it looks fantastic in my opinion. One thing with the DualShock, as much as I do love it, and I think it's a comfortable controller, a lot of people have argued that it's too small. And I mean, I've got big mitts, right? So an Xbox controller, even though I detest the layout of the Xbox, the size of it makes more sense to someone with big hands. And I do think with the back button attachment, you can find that video I've put up on YouTube. I did a unboxing of that and showed you how that worked. It did assist a little bit with some games, but I do find for most of the time, I'm not using it a lot. It's working on some games where I can, need to run a lot without having to push in a trigger, which eventually it fucks with your fingers. The DualSense is a larger controller, and as you can see in the picture, it is wider and it sort of arcs out, and I think it will be a more comfortable gaming experience. Now, one of the things that they've put in there is haptic feedback. Now, what that simply means is, say you were driving over a road, you'd get that gradual, a dirt road, you might get that gradual sort of, it's not just the whir of the DualShock, the controller itself will subtly vibrate to indicate that you're over a bumpy surface, but it's capable of more intuitive feedback than the DualShock, and that will stun me. I'm looking forward to seeing what that does, because the DualShock itself, I think, is fantastic with the way it does rumble. It feels every now and then like, when you're firing a gun or whatever. The way the controller kicks in, it does a fantastic job, and this is meant to escalate that to the next level. The way that the sides arc back out, I do think will allow a more comfortable grip than what we've experienced. Now, Sony has said that the DualShock 4 will work with the PS5, so you won't have to go throwing everything away. You won't have to get rid of anything, but for those who are keen for the best experience, Sony has sent out the DualSense to developers now to see what they can do with their games to incorporate a better experience for gamers. So that's going to be something really neat that comes out, something well worth looking forward to, and I can't wait to see how that all works out. So we do have our first look at the DualSense. I think, it's going to be interesting. It's breaking its numbering, so to speak, like you had the DualShock 4. And then they've just gone to the DualSense, but it does make sense, and it's going to be an exciting time when that does come out. The initial stuff that I've seen online, I don't know if it's true, but the DualSense is going to be ridiculously expensive. That is the only downside. This may be absolute internet bullshit, but they're talking about a $200 price tag for a controller. Fuck that. People won't be buying it. I do think that may just be internet scuttlebutt, same as there have been leaked pictures of what the PlayStation 5 is meant to look like. I don't even know if that's true either. It's just simply one of those things where this image that I saw, bloody hell, it looked real, but people are so clever with Photoshop. I have not seen this image released by any reputable Sony authorized source. So as real as it looks, if you're seeing a PlayStation 5 out there at the moment, it looks like it may actually just be a photoshopped or modded PS4 Slim. It looks great. Whoever did it did a good job. But my only issue and worry is that if it is the right, I might actually put an image of it up around here if I remember to do so when I'm doing the editing and stuff later. But if that image is real, my only concern is, and the thing I hate about my PS4 Pro, is it vents out the back. Now, most of us have got them on cabinets and they are near a wall. So all it does is vents the hot air out onto the wall, which then bounces back onto the controller. I know it's sucking the air through the system from the front. However, I do notice that, like, if I'm having a long sesh, then the wall itself will actually be warm, and behind the PlayStation, it is, like, not boiling, but it is super hot, and not the game. If you haven't played Super Hot, you should play it. It's fantastic. But I'm excited for the DualSense. I think that it's going to really bring a new element to a lot of games, especially like if you're feeling apprehensive playing a game and you've got this haptic feedback. In a horror game, for example, when something's about to happen and it's like, it builds up. It's going to be so cool. Other things that it can be used for with the haptics is the triggers. Like if you're shooting a bow and arrow, for example, and this is the most commonly described feature of this thing, is that you will notice that you will have to pull the trigger a bit harder. You might be able to feel it a little bit more. What that will mean for us playing games where you might be shooting a lot of arrows, I'm not sure yet. But it's certainly an exciting time. I can't wait for the release of the console. I think it's going to be fantastic. I've been saving my pennies, but not even knowing how much the damn thing's going to cost. Xbox at least has shown us what their console does look like. And look, I'm not an Xbox gamer. You guys know this, but I will get the console at some point. I love the fact... I'm just waiting basically for Microsoft to go, you know what? We've got this kick-ass game and you can only play it on this console. Because till then, I'll just use my Xbox One. And I know the graphics will be better, and I've got a kick-ass TV. I'm fortunate enough to have a good TV that would benefit from what these new machines can do. But until they bring out a game that is only on that console, I don't know how I feel about it. I am disappointed that Microsoft have bought the studio that makes Hellblade. Like Hellblade 2 is meant to be an Xbox exclusive. Hellblade, if you haven't played it, the Senua's Sacrifice is utterly beautiful. Please play that game if you haven't. And but yeah, like that would almost be a game that I'd buy an Xbox just to play that game. But I do think it's going to still be like $600-700 for the console. That's just me. I don't have any pricing. So times are going to be interesting. Let's wait and see what comes out. But in the meantime, we have got confirmation the DualSense is a real thing. So let's look forward to that. And let's see what Sony come up with their new console. Thank you so much for watching. You can find more videos on YouTube. Just go to type in The Grown Gamers. You'll find me. And also join the Facebook group on the Grown Gamers podcast page, and we can chat. You can see the dumb trophies and achievements I do, and other videos like this as well, including the audio podcast. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.